It's not about being a Muslim, it's about radicalisation. We are seeing so much radicalisation happening in this country. People are in fear now of attacks. Most of the attacks comes from radical Islam in this country. That's where my concern is.
Today, Senator Pauline Hanson stepped into unfamiliar territory, an Islamic school in Brisbane, where she's meeting young Muslim Australians who live with the very issues she stands against and has spoken about so strongly in the past. For these students, Australia isn't simply where they live, it's home. But as Pauline sits down with them, the conversation quickly moves into some much more difficult territory. Radicalization, religious identity, the wearing of niqab, Sharia law, marriage, and what it really means to be Australian.
But Australia is more than where I live. It's my home. It's a country that has given me the freedom to embrace who I am and pursue my ambitions and dreams without limits.
Okay.
Australia is the only home I've ever known, and it's a country I'm incredibly proud to call my own.
I was born in Pakistan and I moved here to Australia with my family when I was 3.5, and I can confidently say that I'm proud to be Australian. Senator, if your own child or grandchild had a close Muslim friend, would you encourage this friendship? Why or why not?
I have no problem with that. With people having friends as Muslim. Yeah, you know, it's not about being a Muslim, it's about radicalisation. We are seeing so much radicalisation happening in this country. People are in fear now of attacks. Most of the attacks comes from radical Islam in this country. That's where my concern is.
Not surprisingly, it's Nabiha's niqab that draws Pauline's ire.
Do you want to wear it yourself personally, or does your mother wear it?
My mother wears it, but I chose to wear it. She told me that it's better if I do it when I grow up, but I've always wanted to do it from a young age, and as I grew older to this age, my urge to wear it grew stronger, and yeah, it was my own choice.
Why do you feel you want to wear it?
Because I feel like it's like a way of me strengthening my connection with my God. It kind of makes me feel liberated from social beauty standards, because around me I always see a lot of girls, they get like, they're like put down because of the way they look, and wearing it makes me feel like people can't exactly see my face, so they won't judge me based on how I look. They focus more on like other parts of me, like how I talk and like how I interact with other people.
It's your choice. I acknowledge and I accept that. But a lot of women are being forced to actually wear it, you know, when they don't want to.
What do you see when you say Australian way of life, Australian culture?
Would you ever wear a bikini to the beach?
No.
No.
So is that Australian way of life,
So
wearing a bikini?
It's very much an Australian culture.
So
to wear swimsuits and on the beach and different
If
things.
she doesn't wear it, is she not Australian?
She can choose what she wants to do.
So if I don't follow this kind of Australian culture, would that mean I'm less Australian than anyone who does?
Do you yourself believe that men should have up to, you know, a number of wives?
In Australia, it is not allowed. Then I believe that they should follow the Australian law, because they choose to live in this country, they should abide by the law. However, if they were in a country where it is allowed to have multiple wives and they're okay with it, then I don't see why there's a problem.
Muslims are coming here, disregarding our law and still having their multiple wives under Sharia law. Do you believe in Sharia law?
Yes.
Do you believe that should be allowed here in Australia?
Not in Australia, because it's against the law, but if you look at if it's not just Muslims, if you look at non-Muslim population, there's also men with multiple wives.
Now we can clearly see that the conversation has now moved beyond personal choices and into a much bigger question about whether religious beliefs can coexist with constitutional law of the land and culture. Pauline Hanson makes it clear that Australian law comes first, while the students argue that following their faith does not automatically make them less Australian. But the questions are becoming more personal, especially when Hanson asks about Sharia law and marriage. And now the students have an opportunity to explain where they believe the line should be drawn.
But it is occurring here in Australia anyway. Yeah. Do you believe that you should be allowed to be married off at your parents, to whoever parents choose for you?
Yeah. I
do.
don't see why there's a problem with it because my parents know what's best for me. As long as there's a mutual agreement, if the child themselves is fine with it, then I don't see why there's a problem.
Right.
Then the M word that Pauline now all but owns.
I just had a question about your thoughts on monoculture. So when you obviously talk about monoculture, like where does someone like me fit into that? Like which parts of my identity as a Muslim Australian do you see contributing to Australia and which parts don't?
You're a refugee here, aren't you?
No, I was born here.
Well, I'm sorry. You were born here, so therefore you're an Australian like everyone else that were born here. Do you want to live in a safe country?
We are living in a safe country.
How do you know for how long? Why do people feel that they've got to put up with these gangs that have come from other countries, wielding their machetes on streets, which is never, ever, when I grew up in this country, we never had that. So different cultures bring with them a lot of bad as well as a lot of good for our nation.
Senator, can I say these young people, when they hear you speak, certainly these terms like culture, assimilation, integration, they are loaded terms. They get hurt, Senator. Do you understand that sometimes those words are misinterpreted by some people who may follow you and hurt these people?
Now, this is where the conversation becomes especially revealing. The students aren't simply challenging Pauline on policy. They're as well asking what her words mean for people like them, who were born in Australia and consider this country their home. As the school's CEO cuts in and warns that words like assimilation and monoculture can carry real emotional weight. Hanson, however, turns the argument around, saying she feels Australia itself has changed beyond recognition. At this point, the disagreement is no longer just about religion. It's about identity and belonging.
You know what? I feel offended that people don't want to embrace this nation to feel that they are Australians, because our country is not the place that I grew up in. It's not a place that I recognise anymore.
She came, she saw, she left.
So what did you think?
It was quite interesting, their views. You know, I don't necessarily, I can see where they're coming from, young minds, but it's still there. You know, you can tell me about, you know, Muslim, they still believe in faith, but like I said, I'm totally opposed to radical Islam, and I'll say that again.
Do you think anything of what you said made any difference to their thought processes?
No. Not at all.
And after all the back and forth, Pauline leaves with a surprisingly blunt assessment. She doesn't believe the conversation changed the students' minds at all. The students defended their identity as Australians, while explaining how they see their faith, culture, and personal choices. Hanson left convinced that Australia is changing in ways she doesn't recognize. So the bigger question remains, can Australia preserve a shared national identity while making room for very different cultural and religious identities? That's the debate this conversation leaves behind.